Takeover talks are back. Turki Al-Sheikh, who is he? I will explain where this news has come from, what has been said, and we will discuss it in the live chat this morning. It is a late night bombshell of news for Manchester United fans to get their heads around this morning. I'll bring you all the detail on everything that has gone down overnight. Also in the show this morning, I'm going to talk about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, more quotes from that interview regarding why certain people have been let go of the academy as well. I can say something and then get banned, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe can go all in. Well, he is the owner really anyway, so he can say whatever he wants. But interesting insight into what he's also said there off the back of that interview. What the journalists have said also after that interview as well, completely disagreeing with what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said. All of that information to come as well. And of course, all of the roundup of transfer speculation and other news around Manchester United. But there's only one place to start. And that is that news that has broke overnight. The Daily Mail are reporting this. Chris Wheeler is reporting this. But it is everywhere because there has been, well, let's just say there has been a bombshell tweet dropped by Turki Al-Sheikh. Now, obviously, you start to get excited. You're the Saudi Pro League and things like this, the money that's involved. Look at what's happening with Newcastle. If you put all of that model and ownership onto Manchester United, we would rule the world. And yeah, we would. We would be the richest club in the world with the most revenue, with the best financing, and with that comes the best team. And that is the ultimate dream for every single Manchester United fan at the moment. So when news like this breaks overnight, you tend to think, right, okay, it's time to get a little bit cautious first of all. That was my approach with this. Is this story real? What is it? Who, first of all, is Turki Al-Sheikh? Well, if you are not a boxing fan, if you are not in the world of boxing, you might not know who this guy is. Turki Al-Sheikh is the sportsman. He's in charge of all of the sport investments and organising and arranging some of the biggest sports events for Saudi Arabia, MMA, boxing. And boxing is where he has really made his name. If you want to know who Turki Al-Sheikh actually is, then go on to Netflix and watch the Matchroom Boxing Hearn family documentary which is going on right now. It goes into how Matchroom actually operates and works, and there is lots of information in that program on Turki Al-Sheikh. But yes, he is a big deal and he is genuine. He is a real person. Let's just say that, because in previous takeover talks with Manchester United around the Qatari bid, for instance, anything involved in the Middle East and UAE sort of investment into Manchester United, we kind of never really known if it's genuine or not. Well, first of all, Turki Al-Sheikh is genuine. He's out there. He's flamboyant. He is open on X. He is constantly on X. He's got 7+ million followers on X. And last night, this is where this story came from. He dropped the bombshell tweet which said, word for word, and this was translated by Grok, obviously, from X. He says that the happiest news I have heard today is that Manchester United is now in an advanced stage of finalising a deal to sell to a new investor. I hope they're better than the previous owners. Now, that was the tweet that went out that everybody's talking about. And you only have to go on social media this morning to see every single aggregator and every single reporter and journalist, anyone in the know, scrambling around to try and find out what he means by this. They're probably not going to find out. They're probably going to dig into several different sources. This could be a big hoax. This guy is a bit of a prankster. You only have to look at what he does with Eddie Hearn. I know Eddie Hearn is a big deal. Obviously, that is a multi-million pound company. I don't even know if it's close to billions, to be honest, the Matchroom setup. But he gets them jumping through hoops for him. He is absolutely massive, this guy. But I'll reiterate what I just said there. He is a bit of a prankster. He likes to joke around as well, and he likes to do things on X that prove he is powerful. That's the best way I could describe it. If you watch that documentary on Matchroom on Netflix, you will understand exactly what I'm saying. He is flamboyant. He is, like I said, powerful, and he likes to flash the cash. That's basically what he likes to do. But look, he is serious, and he has been part of some of the biggest sporting events on the calendar especially regarding MMA and boxing. And now, obviously, we know that he is in talks, and the Saudi Pro League and Saudi Arabia are in talk with Manchester United already. So it kind of coincides with the talk of Manchester United joining in a mini tournament in Riyadh season. Riyadh season is a season where they put on major sporting events over in Saudi Arabia. So he is obviously in talks with that already with Manchester United. And I think it's come from that where this quote has actually come from and this tweet has come from. And he's just saying, this is what I have heard tonight. This is the best news. And he's had a little dig at Manchester United's owners there, really, and saying, hope that they're better than the previous owners. How serious this is, we don't know. You can only look at what the journalists have already written themselves. They're kind of guessing at this right now. But it does make you feel like, obviously, with what's happening with the stadium and Manchester United at the moment, them plans being put on hold, can this ownership, the current ownership that is between the owners of the Glazer family and Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, really take Manchester United forward? Can they get the deal that they want for the stadium? Can they move United forward without that stadium? If they can't get the stadium, then they're in a little bit of trouble regarding the financing side of things for this football club, because that is their gold mine. That is where their big investment really pays off for them. So that being said, the conversations going on about what is actually happening over in Riyadh and the potential games for Manchester United to earn upwards of 10 million. I'll just read an extract from the actual piece in the Daily Mail now reporting on this. And this says, the head of General Entertainment Authority responsible for bringing some of the world's highest profile sporting events to Saudi Arabia posted, the best news I heard is that Manchester United is now in advanced stage of completing a deal to sell to a new investor. I hope they're better than the previous owners. It's unclear if there is any substance in Al-Sheikh's claims or if he is criticising the Glazer or Radcliffe in his post, but his comment attracted close to 1 million views in the early hours on Thursday morning. It followed news that Manchester United could bank upwards of 10 million if they strike a deal to visit Saudi this season, according to industry sources, that is. The club are looking at ways to fill gaps in their calendar and a black hole in their finances by arranging mid-season friendlies with Saudi, one of the options under discussions. Again, that was the main story that we've been talking about all week, and this is where this is spun off from. So, again, let's just make sure that we're clear on what's happening here. This is just one tweet, and one tweet that's gone out from Turki Al-Sheikh. He is a genuine person, first of all. He is the real deal. He is the one in charge of all of the major sporting events in Saudi Arabia. Absolute billions at his disposal, and this could be something that would interest the Glazers or Sir Jim Ratcliffe if the price was right. Big if. Big but, and obviously more news will come out through the day. It just gets Man United fans excited that there is still interest and there is a way out of this in time for this football club, of this ownership, if it does not work. There'll always be someone lining up, waiting to take over at Manchester United. There'll always be the next best thing coming in to take a piece of Manchester United. They are that big. It's like the saying and the song says, United will never die. No, it won't. And there'll always be that massive investment waiting if it all goes wrong and there's no way forward for the club. That's probably what we could take from this, as I see it anyway. I don't see this actually happening with what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's talking about anyway. I cannot look at this and say, look, it's never say never, but I look at everything. I look at who this guy is and I look at what he's like and where his investment is at the moment, what he's in charge of. And yeah, it's sport. And United, obviously, football club, obviously the biggest in the world, they would be interested in it. But it's whether or not our ownership are willing to let go of it. And there is a really close relationship between Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers, as was proved again in that interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe gave to the Business Podcast yesterday that we were talking about. So that overall, in terms of where it's at and possible takeover, I'm taking it with a pinch of salt. I'm looking at it from the outside. I'm thinking I don't really see it with... It's still in the infancy of the Ineos reign at Manchester United. Would they want to sell so quickly? But let's not forget, on top of that, the Glazers do have the right to sell Manchester United now to any other outside investment, whether Ineos like it or not. That was that deal after 18 months. We're past that now. So if the Glazers got an offer, they could sell. Yes, that is there. That is a definite. But there is a relationship between the Glazers and Ineos that just seems to be on an understanding level that no one's ever going to know about. There's always like this secret talk and secret deal that was agreed between the two businesses and two companies to dual own Manchester United as such. But they could sell them, and then in the rules of the business world, Ineos would have to then match that. They would have the chance to come back and bid as much. They're never going to bid as much as what the Saudis would bid for Manchester United. They are absolutely filthy rich, as we all know, and have got a bottomless pit of cash to spend. That's where the reality is for United fans right now. There is nothing genuine. Well, there is genuine because he's tweeted it out. So there is talk there. But is it speculation? And like I said, just remember, he is a little bit of a prankster. He likes to joke around as well. He is one of these guys that really feels like he's untouchable going off what we've seen. And with the money and the wealth that they've got, if you can make Eddie Hearn jump like that and Frank Warren jump like that and get both of them in the same room who hate each other, and if you follow boxing and understand the rules and how boxing works around the promotional side of things, you'll understand that that was an impossibility of them two coming together at one point until Turki Al-Sheikh's money came in and then they got involved. They could not say no to that. So this is how powerful this guy is. And he could just do that and them two would be in a room together instantly. And they'd never met until he jumped onto the scene. And Eddie Hearn says that in that actual documentary. So that's how powerful this guy is. And you're talking about the biggest of the biggest here in that world of sport. Whether or not they're going to move that across to Manchester United, I got no idea. And no one else has got an idea, looking through everything that I have this morning, that this is definitely something that's happening. And we're going to talk about what Sir Jim Radcliffe's talking about in this interview again, because more of that has been released in a moment. But it just goes to show how big this could be and exactly how big Manchester United are. If the Glazers went with selling, United could be sold again. United could be sold from under the feet of Ineos. I just don't think that's going to happen. Personally, I don't think that is going to happen. Look, I'll get into the comment section now and give you... let's get your thoughts in on this, please, everybody. Let me know how you're feeling about this. Do you think that there is anything genuine in it at all? Can you have hope that you might have these big rich owners coming in? Let's get into some of the comments on this as well, please, everyone. Also, make sure that you do hit them links in the live chat and in the description as well. The first one today is, of course, from our partners, Match Bingo. That 100% deposit boost is still there, everybody. So get onto that as quickly as you can ahead of the games this week. We are covering the England-Wales game tonight. Get involved in that. As soon as you put your details in off Match Bingo, once you've downloaded that app, deposit £10, have that boosted by 100% if you put in promo code FUTV. And get involved now and join the many that have already done it here on Forever United TV and winning hundreds of pounds over the last couple of months. Let's get some more winners on that. Okay, Compa Smith says, if an offer has been made, they need to tell shareholders. It sounds like nonsense. Normally behaviour like that is a sign of insecurity and a lack of empathy for himself. Don't forget to click the like button as well, says Stu on that one. A few comments in there as well. Thank you, guys. Keep them coming in. I'm just going to read some of these out and gauge where the actual thought is on this and whether you think it is genuine or not. The Bloody Glazers have done nothing for this club except take money out, says Gary. Grandpa 70 says over 2,000 pubs closed in the last few years, 209 this year. Farms which is being shut down. Look beyond United. Yeah, mate, like we're not talking about that right now. So please leave them comments out. This isn't the room for that. There are other rooms for that, but I could see Saudis looking to invest in the new stadium development, but considering they own Newcastle, I don't see a takeover of United. It just depends where this comes from, where the investment comes from in terms of how they invest it as well into Manchester United. Obviously, the dual ownership situation is in play here. But like the tweet said, when you look at it, it might not be the Saudis. It might not be what's going on. There is a conversation right now here between Saudis and Riyadh season and Manchester United. That's a fact. We know this. The Athletic have reported it, and United are looking to play friendlies in a mini tournament, a free-team tournament, to earn them upwards of 10 million, even more if they actually win it. So United could actually really prosper and profit from a mini tournament in Riyadh season. That's the only definite that we've got in this. But Turki Al-Sheikh has just dropped that tweet there. Who's to say it's the Saudis? It doesn't say it's the Saudis in the tweet, and everyone's reporting around this. This could be investment into the club alongside the Glazers and Ineos. This could be an investor that comes in and is part of the ownership. Look, there's loads of different ways you can look at that tweet from Turki Al-Sheikh, and you could look at that and say that is obviously the clear and obvious would be Saudi investment, but there is that dual ownership model situation, obviously, that UEFA don't like in football. But maybe he's just saying he's heard in negotiations with United that somebody else is investing into Manchester United, and that's where he's come from. It could be anything. Just because he obviously is a Saudi and he has tweeted it out doesn't mean that it is Saudi investment. It could mean somebody else from anywhere else in the world is looking to invest into Manchester United, and he's just heard about it. When you break the tweet down, it actually is him just saying it's what I've heard tonight, and it's the best news I've heard tonight. And he's praying that they're better than the previous owners. Look, he is that powerful. He can say whatever he wants. Just remember what I said. Like, he doesn't care what he says or the repercussions of it. He feels he can do whatever he wants in that sports industry. And he has proved this. And again, going back to the boxing world, you would never get the fights that you're getting now, or getting the actual events and spectacular occasions that we're getting in the fighting world without the Saudi investment. Nearly everybody in boxing has said the same thing. The sport has moved on, and we're getting all the biggest fights in the world ever because of the Saudi investment. That's it. Without it, you wouldn't have had these things. So this is how big he is. He's come in, he's clicked his finger, and bang, everything happens. And he doesn't care about tweeting out. Like, he could just pass this off as a joke later on today and said, I had everybody laughing at this one. It's just something that I heard and I thought I'd tweet it out and then just carry on with his day-to-day. And we're all just left like, oh, God, like, thanks for teasing us, mate. He really doesn't care. And that's the world that they live in. So, yeah, we can look at it so many different ways. We could see it as a big wind-up. But, look, there is so much going on at Manchester United right now. And look, the genuine thing is United have got money coming from Saudi. And that is probably, for starters, going to be from this this mid-season friendly tournament format. Or, like the rest of that article says there in the Daily Mail, a one-off game where they would earn about 5 million. But they could earn 10 million upwards if they did the mini round robin sort of tournaments with a couple of Saudi teams. It's reported at the moment something like Al Hilal and Al Nazar in a free team mini tournaments. Each team plays each other, and the winners gets an extra bonus prize as well. But you'll get 10 million for competing in it for starters anyway. So yeah, I mean that's a massive. It's a massive investment for Manchester United right now in a season when we haven't got these other games. That's more. I think you could. God no, I can't even think how much more it would be than just competing in the Carabao Cup. But you would get. It's like you could put the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup together and still not get that much in prize money. Obviously, you've got gate receipts, and that's where United would obviously make their money in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. But you could get away ties all the way through the Carabao and FA Cup. 10 million right now is more than both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup put together in terms of prize money. And that's like, what, a week and a half's work for Manchester United over in Saudi Arabia. That's how big it is, and that's easy money for Manchester United. I don't want to be like City personnel there, as Colin says. He thinks it's all a load of holics. Hey, look, a lot of people might look at it that way. And like I said, I am completely open-minded to this. We have to talk about it because it is news for United. And I think it is more around the Saudi games for United, which we are going to earn a lot of money off, like I just said. But still, this is the power of Manchester United. And this is something that is always going to be there for us. and someone will always want to invest into Manchester United. It's just the way it is. I can't believe I was at the Champions League game last night and United won. Well done, girls. And I watched United best midfielder at Jess Park, and she would walk into Amarim's team. Yes, well done the women last night for that Champions League win. It's massive for United. It's a shame that we can't get that in the men's game, but credit to the women. They are showing the men up right now. Let's see what we've got now. More comments flying in, everybody. I'm going to get a few more in on this before we move on to the other stories as well. Saudi good business, men, and don't overbuy though. Glazers don't sell. They get regular money for nothing, so they don't need to sell. Look, it just depends how much someone offers for it, Junkie. That's it with United. Look, they sold part of what they wanted to Ineos. And I think that proved there that they were out of their depth. But like you said, there is a good point there in that comment where they do like to earn something for nothing. At the moment, it's going to be Ineos that's earning them the money. So, yeah. Personally, I think it's a load of shite talk after the Sir Jim Ratcliffe interview just to stir fans up again. I don't actually think it is. I think it's just a Turki Al-Sheikh saying whatever he wants because he's that powerful. And whether we think it's serious or not, I think that's how we look at it. I don't think it's been brought on because of the Sir Jim Ratcliffe interview. He has actually tweeted this out. So, again, everyone will do their work. All the journalists will get into all the talk of what he said and where this investment could be coming from. And by the end of the day, we'll probably find out a little bit more about what's actually going on. And look, to be honest, I would move to the side of this isn't genuine. There is no one coming in from Saudi to buy into Manchester United. We are going to get a shed load of cash from the Saudis for playing football. That's how I see it happening. And I would not be surprised if Manchester United organised and made this an annual thing for them to earn money from the Saudi Pro League, going over with friendlies like this at certain times of the season when they look at their schedules. I can see them trying to negotiate a deal where this is another revenue stream for Manchester United, season in, season out. And again, they're going to jump down any avenue of revenue that they possibly can. For instance, if Manchester United did not make the Champions League, the Europa League, or the Europa Conference League next season, I could see Manchester United already organising certain events and certain games, mini tournaments or whatever, with the Saudis to line their pockets and make what they could out of them if they're not in Europe. That's what I see happening here. This is a long-term partnership deal, I feel. Don't think it's a new investor coming in to actually buy Manchester United. I just think there is a big deal to be had here, and United are seeing an opportunity, and they'll take advantage of it. They will. Angry Beaver, thank you for dropping that gifted membership in. Brits Abroad with a super chat as well. Let's speculate for a moment. If we are sold, I see Cristiano Ronaldo back at Old Trafford in some capacity. Imagine the transfer budget with almost 700 million a year revenue. That's without Champions League. Yeah, that is dream world. It is Brits Abroad. And that's what a lot of people would look at and get excited about. It's not going to happen, in my opinion. But look, it's there, and I think what is real is the attraction of Manchester United. Like I said, this is a massive, massive institution. This is Manchester United, and they can make money like that. They bleed money, Manchester United. That's what's appealing of this football club, and there is always going to be someone who wants to come in and take a piece of it. So the investment is always going to be there in Manchester United. Will the Glazers let go? I don't think so. Will Ineos want to let go after 18 months? I don't think so. Will they take advantage of someone else coming in and giving them money and investing into Manchester United for the piece of the pie? We will see. I think that's where we're at right now. What can happen? What can look? For instance, Manchester United are looking to build a stadium. And there are different parts of the stadium that are looking for instance, investment into the naming rights of the stand, things like this. Look, there is all sorts. I'm sure these meetings are going on with all different financial repercussions in mind, and there's going to be more and more come out about this, and it is all around, I feel, at Manchester United's new stadium as well. Because let's not forget, this stadium that they're planning to build is going to host multiple events. Who is involved in multiple events? Turki Al-Sheikh. There's so many different little avenues that lead into Manchester United and conversations. It's all around money. It's all around investments. It's all around making an absolute mint, and it's about power. That's what it is. And that's what I think we will see. There will be Saudi influence and Middle Eastern influence in Manchester United. It may not come at the top, but there is going to be a big piece of it coming to Manchester United, I feel, anyway. Glenn C. with a super chat says... the share procedure hasn't moved. The share price hasn't moved. So they're not convinced. Give it a chance, obviously. Again, someone will come out and tell us exactly what's going on with this. I think from it, before we move on, just to round up, just expect some form of announcement for Manchester United doing a deal with Saudis over football games and United earning a shed load of money from it. That's what I think is coming next anyway. Look, right, keep them comments coming in on that. I will sift through a few of them as we go through the live show. But, of course, we have got other news to talk about as well. And this is obviously around Manchester United itself. Obviously, the Sir Jim Ratcliffe interview that went out yesterday. We talked about it last night in detail, the 3-year plan for Ruben Amorim. I've heard journalists talking on Sky Sports late last night about this. Don't take the word of Sir Jim Ratcliffe for a definite happening with Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. I think everybody knows in the journalist world that talk is cheap when it comes to Manchester United and managers staying. That is their stance on where we're actually at with Ruben Amorim right now. But in this The Business podcast interview with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, parts of it have been released now. He did say what he said about Ruben Amorim. He did break it down the way that it was written, so it isn't false quotes. They are genuine. I've actually listened to Sir Jim Ratcliffe now say them words that we were talking about last night. Ruben needs to prove himself as the right coach for Manchester United over 3 years. And the interviewer then asked him, would you give him 3 years then? Is that it? Is that the example you were using with Ferguson? And he said, yes, like Ferguson, but also like Mikel Arteta. And look, he used Mikel Arteta as an example as well. He obviously now competing at the highest level, competing, not winning, of course, but still right up there. And that would be enough for Sir Jim Ratcliffe right now. If you could give him what Arsenal have got right now in 2 years' time, he would snatch your hand off at it, because the finances that come with what Arsenal have got for United would be almost double for what we could generate. So he knows, and he has seen that model and thought, right, who are the most successful teams in the Premier League right now? You would say City, Arsenal, and, of course, Liverpool, the ones that have had the long-standing managers. So he's looking at their blueprints and models. You can look at Chelsea and say that they are sacking managers left, right and centre to get to the one that they want. Maresca now is on a decent stint himself and obviously right up there competing. You could look at Eddie Howe as well with Newcastle, long-term manager now, doing well also. And they're the big teams. They're the big ones that you would look at and use as an example. So I think that's the road he's looking at there, the long-term manager. He's still hoping that Ruben can turn it around. I'm still convinced he's on that hope train because he will have to make a decision if United are not in Europe. So again, this is up to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But don't forget, come next month, he's already a year in. And he's only signed a 2.5-year contract. So he's only got 18 months left anyway. So it will be up to Manchester United to, in fact, give Ruben a new contract. If he is wanting him to see 3 years, he would need to have already given him a new deal. So let's bear that in mind as well, and what's been said in that. And I could never use the Sir Alex Ferguson comparison in managers. It just doesn't work. If that was the case, then they would have let Ten Hag stay even longer, and they sacked him after triggering his contract renewal already. So look, it's like the journalist is saying, talk is cheap when it comes to managers at Manchester United. Sit in and let's see if this is the same if United lose a couple more games, and it'll be a different outlook altogether. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe also goes on to talk, and there is a piece on this where he says, well, someone's actually brought up, because it doesn't make sense for me, and you'll know what I mean by this now, I'll just read it out. The likes of Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, Amad Diallo, Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo have made the step up over the past few years, but Radcliffe claims more players should have made the grade, which is one of the reasons why he recently hired Stephen Torpe from Brentford to replace Nick Cox as academy director. Now, everybody knows Amad Diallo was bought and not an academy player. He did not come through Manchester United's academy. So I don't know if that's a misquote or a misprint, but Amad is not a Man United academy player. You could say he was brought in earlier and worked his way through the loan system. Obviously, he's had several loans out, Amad Diallo, featured in little parts and little cameos in Man United's first team, but he's not an academy player. So let's get that right first of all. I'm not saying Amad was an academy graduate. He wasn't. Obviously, Rashford, McTominay, Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo, they were. And Radcliffe goes on to say this. He says, and this is his quote now, "The academy has really slipped at Manchester United." Radcliffe said, "You need the academy to be producing talent all the time. It helps you financially." It helps you financially. That's not a light switch. You don't solve the academy problem overnight. It takes time. We just recruited a new academy director. Talking about the likes of Torpe there that he brought in from Brentford. It makes you money. It makes you money. It helps you financially. He knows the loopholes in PSR and financial fair play. This is why, like I've said before, he's not stupid. He's a businessman who would have learnt what is necessary for Manchester United to earn money through financial fair play and how they can get back up competing at the top level through PSR and financial fair play restraints. And like I said, every single player that's coming in right now, it's a 17-year-old, 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 17-year-old. These players need to be coming through and they need to be feeding the Manchester United first team constantly. But it helps you financially. A player that has been at the football club for 3 years before the age of 21 is classed as a homegrown player. So everyone that we're buying right now will be classed as homegrown players. And they'll be looking at this and going, well, even if they don't make it, we could still sell these players under the new management structure, which is better, and we get better deals on our players we sell. Clearly, already we've seen that. But we could be selling these players if they don't make it as well. And there is a conveyor belt of them players coming through. Even players that are not from Manchester United's own academy are brought through the grassroots level in this country. They're being bought and brought in from overseas. For instance, Garnacho is a prime example of that. A player that was bought from Atletico Madrid's academy for 300,000 plus, something like that, and then sold for 40 million. That's the model that I think Sir Jim is looking at. Yes, if he's a great player for Man United's first team, fantastic, because they don't have to spend any money. But if he is a great player and then gets taken away, United will always be quids in. And this is what he talks about with the rope that was given to the previous management team at Manchester United and how they run this club into the ground. That, I think, there is his point, and that's where he is going with this. Yes, you could talk about the players coming through. That's great, and that's what United is built off, on the history and all the nostalgia that's involved in that. But really, he's looking at the money. He's not stupid. There is always going to be a business element and a money-making element to whatever Sir Jim Radcliffe does. Don't get carried away. Like I have said that the structure in place at United right now is 20 times better than what it was before. But I'm not deluded. I'm not having the wool pull over my eyes. That the bigger picture here is to earn money from Manchester United. He is one of the richest men in Great Britain for a reason. And that's because he has been successful in business. He will fleece out. He will drain every last penny out of any situation he possibly can out of Manchester United. And the academy is that. I think it's a bit of a dig at Nick Cox, though, because Nick Cox did a great job at Manchester United. And I'm not just saying that because I knew him and I have interviewed him before. He did do a good job at Manchester United. But yes, he's come in and he's gone straight in. I think he'll need to be careful around there. Again, it's an owner of a football club with massive riches, being able to say what he wants, I think, here in this instance. I kind of agree a little bit. It has gone off Man United's academy, but it's not bad. It's not completely lost its whole grab. I mean, you look at that FA Youth Cup winning side in 2022, was it? I think it was, before Erik ten Hag came in. And you look at the players that came through there. We're talking about Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo featuring in that final. and winning the FA Youth Cup. And look what money's come from that. This is what I feel Ineos are looking at. And there is a big money spinner there from the academy side of things for them, I think, in that. And I think they will rinse every single penny out of that as much as they possibly can. Right. More comments on that section as well. We have got other news to talk about, so let's get as many comments in on this part now, the academy. And still, even if you want to talk about Turki Al-Sheikh and that tweet as well that we talked at the top of the show, if you have just joined us right now and you're wanting to know what the main headline is, there is a tweet gone out last night from Turki Al-Sheikh which reads, "The happiest news I heard today is that Manchester United is now in advanced stage of finalising a deal to sell to a new investor. I hope they're better than the previous owners." Turki Al-Sheikh. That is the big news this morning. Everybody has gone into overdrive in trying to find out exactly what that means. Are United being taken over? Is there takeover talks? I personally don't think there is, but I think there is money coming in from Saudi, and that is because Al-Sheikh is actually in talks with Manchester United at the moment for a potential friendly game. He posted the message on Twitter. He's obviously talking to people in and around United because he's talking with them now over this potential friendly tournament for United. And he's put this tweet out. So, look, you can read into it as much as you want. You can do your own digging around. But there will be plenty of news out through the day that will tell you exactly what he's going on about here. And like I said, go and watch the Matchroom documentary on Netflix to know what this guy is all about. He is genuine. He is loaded. He is a big player. But he is a bit of a prankster as well. And he likes his social media interaction, this guy. So, yeah. I'm not convinced is what I'll say. But that's the main news. And keep your comments coming in on that. Let's get a few more comments in. So Jim Radcliffe going in on the academy and going in on how it was run before. It needs to be doing more and there needs to be more players coming through. Ineos have been big on bringing in the younger players. So, yeah, let's see. Reality is we need to think about our academy as a profit maker, not a player maker. Academies these days make money and not players. Sad truth, the odd one makes it. It is a huge mindset shift for our fan base. Look, Manchester United right now, in terms of their academy players, thanks for the comment, Carl, it's dead right. 1%, I think, make it through. We've had a few. Luckily, Man United have actually had a few players that have really made it and are playing at the highest level right now. You look at Rashford. You look at, even if you want to talk about Mason Greenwood, still playing in the Champions League and competing at the top. Scott McTominay, MVP, Scudetto title, challenging in the Champions League right now. You look at Garnacho. You look at Kobbie Mainoo. You look at, like we said last night, just for instance, this could be the next one on the scene. Manchester United's Shea Lacey being involved in England first team training. He's never played for United yet, but he's involved in England first team training. The odd one will come through the ranks and will make it. Look at Man City. Look at Arsenal. Look at Liverpool. Look at the big guns up there. For instance, you've got Trent. You've got Conor Bradley there as well. Homegrown players, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. They're going to be first team squad players for Liverpool. But when they're sold, they're going to earn that club lots and lots of money. Manchester City, Phil Fodens of this world. Then you're looking at Rico Lewis, Nico O'Reilly, latest players to come through. James McAtee, who has been sold to Nottingham Forest. Trafford, who's been sold and come back again. It's a money-making scheme. Cole Palmer, and for Manchester City, was massive, obviously. It's the same at every single club. Look at Dowman, look at Miles Skelly at Arsenal as well. Obviously, Waneri as well there. They bring in talent. They bring in Saka, for instance, for God's sake, as well. Look, there are quality players there, but when them players are sold, it is 100% profit for the football club, and it is a financial fair play, PSR, loophole for clubs to get around that burden, that threshold for FFP and PSR. That's where it is. And that's what they will make fortunes off. And it is the scramble to bring in the best talent from around the world. And that's what Man United didn't compete with before, but are doing right now. Look at what we've done so far in taking Chido, in taking Heaven, in taking Leon. We've got Kanabiaka we bought this summer as well, James Overy from Australia off. And now we're looking, obviously, Sekou Kone. We're trying to bring in Orozco. That deal is done. And now Dabo as well, ahead of Barcelona and some other big hitting clubs. It's massive. It's huge. And everybody, every big club around the world take advantage of this. United have just been stood still, thinking they're the one powerhouse in the world and they've got all this money and we can do things in the transfer market that other clubs could only dream of. We have stood still and everybody's overtaken us, and this is where we are now, so far behind. We're playing catch up. So Jim knows it, and that interview pretty much tells you exactly where his thinking is. It helps you financially. In the same line that he said the academy players need to be consistently contributing to the first team season in, season out. There needs to be more players that come through. But he knows that them players coming through are actually going to give Manchester United the funds to move forward and bankroll the club for many years to come. Already seen it. Look at what Manchester United have done and sold from their academy. I think it was worked out the other day around about 200 million. So you're nearly at $250 million that has come through in transfers from Manchester United's academy. It's madness, but that is a massive business. Liam says, James Garner, Angel Gomez, Mateo Kova, Alvaro Carreras are four of the top of my head that should be at United. The money we spent on players worse than them would save us fortunes. It would. And if you think what Man United sold them players for, that would tell you again that Manchester United have been mismanaged for years. Definitely. All of them players and more. We should have been getting more money for Mason Greenwood. Yes, different scenario. We're now looking at trying to get 26 million for Marcus Rashford for Manchester United. It would have been unthinkable 3 years ago that figure would be what was being thrown around for Marcus Rashford. Crazy. Scott McTominay, 30 million. As it stands at the moment, it did stand at the moment, was Manchester United's highest sale of an academy player. Garnacho has obviously taken that title now with that £40 million move to Chelsea. But you look at the money there involved and how Manchester United probably could have and should have got more out of them sales as well. It is, but like that people are saying in the chat there, when you look at Manchester United, the whole look, the academy being the backbone of this football club, financially more so now than the actual players coming into the first team. That's where it is. It used to be where the academy players came through, and that was where Manchester United actually... Well, that's where Manchester United's team came from as such. And now it is a money-making machine which helps United go out and buy the best players for the first team. And they're the facts. They're there for everybody to see. So, again, it's good, but don't allow your judgment to be clouded by the thought of Manchester United's great history of young players coming through. It doesn't work like that anymore. It doesn't work like that. Jimmy's spot on. The manager needs 3 years to win back-to-back matches. A few jokes coming in there as well. We don't sell at the right time. We all saw Rashford was an up and down player, but we don't cash in on highs. We keep them too long. That is another problem for Manchester United. Holding on to players for way too long has always been a big problem. And this, I think, is exactly where Manchester United now are trying to catch up on. They're trying to catch up to everybody else in the market, and they have let it slip. And I think what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said there is that standards have slipped. There should be more coming from Manchester United's academy. There should be, for the structure that we've actually got and the pulling power Manchester United have got. We should be miles ahead of everybody else, but we're miles behind everybody else. It's scandalous where we are right now. Manchester United looking at Kenan Yildiz again. This is another transfer talk situation again. We've talked about Kenan Yildiz before. I don't really like talking too much about the transfer situation. The bigger story is obviously the here and now with Manchester United, but just to keep you completely up to date, United interested in Kenan Yildiz. Obviously, if you didn't see the show last night as well, Manchester United are not going to sell Bruno Fernandes in January. That is more likely to be at the end of the season in the summer. According to Ben Jacobs, El Nazar and Al Ittihad are the ones that are leading the race for Bruno Fernandes. United have a minimum 60 million price tag on Bruno's head. Discussions are ongoing with Harry Maguire over a new contract again, going back into holding on to players for too long yet again. In other areas, we are moving players on where we should. Onana, 2 years, gone. Højlund, 2 years, gone. These players need to be moved out. And that's an example there of when United should be moving players out. But I think what the chat is saying, what Cal said in his comment in there in the chat as well, is that Manchester United need to cash in on players earlier when they're in their peaks. Can you make the most out of that player? Even if he has an off season, you still move him on for a better price rather than hoping that he's going to get better and better. And then it's a season after a season after a season goes by and that money then dwindles away. And you get to a point where Rashford's gone from 100 million to 26 and Barcelona don't even want to pay that. It's crazy. But there's your prime example, Marcus Rashford. He should have been sold a long time ago from Manchester United. We should have cashed in on Marcus Rashford. He was doing good. He was and did have the potential to be a Manchester United great, but the signs were there with Marcus. And instead, Manchester United started moving other academy players on and bringing in the mates, like Marcus Rashford's mates, Jadon Sancho, players like this, always looking for the next best thing and just flexing their financial muscle. Well, now we're out of we're out of money. And we need to sell players. So we're being forced into operating like a proper football club now. Hi Adam, does the financial fair play rule occur in the Championship and other leagues? And do you think loaning players out in the Championship would benefit them bringing more money in, e.g. a loan fee for Obi to a team? Financial fair play doesn't count in the Championship or for teams in the Premier League that are not competing in a UEFA competition. Remember, financial fair play is UEFA's rules, and it only applies to teams that are competing in their competitions, Conference League, Europa, Champions League, and therefore they have to abide by them rules. United are still doing their financial fair play because they're aiming to be back in. Right now, it doesn't count to us. PSR is the Premier League, and the Premier League alone. The Championship does not have the same rules as the Premier League because there isn't the same money. The Premier League is completely independent to everything that the EFL is and UEFA is when it comes to financial fair play. They're the rules. They each have their own. I'm not too certain of what goes down in the Championship. It is a completely different ball game. Down into League 1 and 2, they have their own financial rules. They are still negotiating to get more money out of the Premier League and bring money down the pyramid, but you could benefit from sending players out on loan, but you won't get a Championship side paying a loan fee for a player. It's not financially suitable for them to do that. It only benefits young players going to the Championship with no loan fee for footballing reasons, not financial reasons. That's from what I've learned and what for the people that I have spoken to and read things about with financial fair play anyway. There's no real get out there for the Championship to loan players unless you want to develop a young player and give him game time. Amas, Sheffield Wednesday, VTech, Bristol City, them examples are probably the best way you could look at that. Surely if they want to use more academy players in the first team, then wouldn't the academy team be better playing the same system as the first team? Well, no. On this one, it's a good point, actually, the OP3, because this has been said before. They are not looking to mirror Manchester United's first team. They are looking to bring out single players. So, in that, what the message is, and what I was told is, it isn't a team coming to play Ruben football. It's Ruben handpicking individual players playing in a system that best suits them. So, like, he looks at the characteristics, and his staff and everyone looking at Man United's academy players are looking for characteristics in players that they can bring through into Manchester United's first team training. So this is why you're getting a lot of the academy players coming into first team training to see how they adapt to the players, to the systems and the formations that Ruben wants to run. They're not going to do that system in the academy. I think that it was decided because there's been so many bleeding managers, and it's not helping them develop either. So they play a 4-3-3 quite simple in Man United's academies, and it's a joy to watch. It is. It's a lot better than what we're watching anyway. And you would think, why don't we just do the same? But no, it is separate. And it is about building a future for the individual rather than the team together, because we know what when you get to under 21s, the team disappears. So that academy team has gone off the face of the planet. They've hit a certain age and they've all gone their own way. And not every single player is going to go into Man United's first team. So what they've done in the academy is they're playing a system that best suits the players that they have got. And then if they are handpicked out, that's simply off their own individual qualities from Man United's first team, Ruben Amorim and his staff. Another gifted membership from the Angry Beaver. Thank you very much, matey. Wow, we've got through so much there today. I'm happy we've got through it all, actually. But we are now out of time, everybody. Don't forget to the link in your live chat and the QR code on your screen are from our match day sponsors, Match Bingo. It is international night tonight. It's going to be England versus Wales. We've got the game covered over on Football Talks. Please go and subscribe to that other channel as well and join us for the watch along later. More on that in this evening show with FUTV, of course. But grab your Match Bingo cards now for all of the games coming up this week, everybody. And don't forget to hit that QR code first of all, or click on the link, download the app, create your account completely free. Your deposit amount of £10, that's your minimum deposit, will go in. It's £2 a game, but if you deposit £10 and then use the promo code FUTV, all capitals, that deposit amount is boosted by 100%. So give yourself a better chance for getting more cards on certain games, and therefore a better chance of winning as well, along with all of the other people that are in the chat right now that have won big. In fact, the pinned comment up there from Gems, she is 700 quid up now on Match Bingo over the last couple of months. I still can't believe that, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for being part of the show. Mods, fantastic job in there again. So much to get through. Please get your comments in after the live is finished, everybody. And give me your thoughts on everything from Turki Al-Sheikh's tweet about new ownership for United to the academy setup, and Sir Jim Radcliffe saying that the academy needs to help United financially going forward. They're your big takeaways from today, everybody. Thank you so much for being part of the show this morning. Get your likes in, please. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button also, and I will